Hello everyone, welcome back to Fraud on the Telly. So last night's episode of Exandria Unlimited Calamity, episode 1, was a freaking banger. Seriously guys, if you haven't watched this episode or weren't planning to watch it at all, stop right now, go watch this because this was some truly epic D&D. If you couldn't tell already, in today's video we will be covering, breaking down, and I will give you my theories as to everything that happened in episode 1 of EXU Calamity, an episode that dove deep into the history of Vespin Chloras and the flying city of Avenlir. As well, I give you my thoughts and theories on everything that happened so far. And let me tell you, I got a lot of ideas. As always, if you enjoyed the video or learned something new, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to check out our Calamity Explained video, which you should definitely watch before EXU Calamity, as it will educate you on everything we know so far about the Calamity. To begin, our story takes place on the flying city of Avenlir, once a mountaintop of the city of Morrow in Marquette. A long time ago, a group of mages raised Avenlir up from the mountain, making it one of several flying cities of Exandria. The Age of Arcanum is in full swing, Avenlir finishing its 7-year round trip of Exandria. It is now one day out from the city of Morrow. The first half of our show is a series of introductions of our characters. We're going to go into a few of the intro scenes in more detail, but first a general introduction. Xerxes, Chrloras, First Sword of Avenlir, a level 14 human paladin played by Louis Caruso. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. Xerxes is quite unique in that he is a paladin who wields divine power, but does not worship any god. Next, Locacious Sealy, a level 14 bard warlock, changeling, played by Sam Riegel. Quacious is the face of the news network of Avenlir and one of its glamorous celebrities. Architect Leylines Reshaped, a level 14 elf wizard, played by Abria Iyengar. Leylines is the chief architect for the inner workings of the city, responsible for making sure everything runs smoothly. As well, she's the ex-wife of Sam's character Loquacious, making for some hilarious scenes between the two. Next, Guildmaster Nidus Okiro, a level 14 human draconic sorcerer, played by amazing guy Lou Wilson. Nidus is responsible for managing much of the finance and trade that takes place in the city. As well, he is the creator of many of the automatons throughout Avenlir. Cerret Agrupin, known as the Guardian of the Seventh, level 14 6'6" Birdman rogue, played by Travis. Cerret acts as a chief investigator or detective, if you will, using his power of perception and investigation to unravel mysteries. As well, Travis based the character off Clint Eastwood, which is absolutely hilarious to watch. And finally, Patia Porco, a level 14 elf wizard, played by Marisha Ray. Patia is the keeper of the scroll and a member of the Silver Circle. As well, she is the granddaughter of the mage who finished the incantation to raise the city of Avenlir into the sky. I just want to say, I loved all these one-on-one intro scenes that Brennan did. They really helped introduce and familiarize the audience with the character as well as the world of Exandria at this time. Because remember, this is the Age of Arcanum. It's in full flourish. The Calamity has not happened yet. First though, we gotta talk about this opening sequence. Cue the classic Matt Mercer dream sequence. The episode begins in Xerxes' dream. The paladin is stumbling on some sort of battlefield as his mouth is filled with blood, until he experiences some sort of strange time-warped experience as he finds himself in Avenlir. For him is a large crater. A small boy sits over the edge with a fishing line descending down the hole. To Xerxes' horror, he realizes that the small boy is his son, or at least what his son looked like 7 years ago, the last time Xerxes saw him. The two chat. Xerxes looks into the watery pit, seeing it is somehow filled with stars. He hears a whispery voice come from it, but he does not speak Draconic, so we only hear 2 words, Ghor Dranas. Now, if you watched our What is the Calamity video, you know all about Ghor Dranas. The city the Betrayer gods would eventually establish in Xhorhas, which would later become Roshana in modern-day Exandria, but we're going to get more to that later in the video. Next, Brennan hits us with the gut punch as Xerxes' son looks to his father saying, "Dad, I think I caught something." As he is violently pulled into the pool, suddenly a massive explosion rings out, leveling the city. A red horn being the size of a mountain has fallen before Xerxes, destroying Avenlir. It looks to Xerxes saying, "My child, I fear I am too late. There are secrets they did not tell you." He opens his massive hand. Within it resides a 10-foot spectral tree. Xerxes is shocked to see the visage of his dead husband, Evandrin, come forward, falling to his knees in pain. Evandrin is wiped away as another explosion rings out. a second giant figure with a featureless face, shining bright like the sun to Sims, slamming its boot on the horned one's head. So right away, we know this is the god Pelor, the Dawn Father, and the creature he stands over is most likely the Lord of the Hells, Asmodeus. Asmodeus turns to Xerxes with easily the best line of the show. Just ask yourself, Xerxes, whom did we betray? God, I'm such a nerd, I literally get chills just writing this shit. Xerxes screams out, holding his hand up. As he does so, Pelor vanishes. Asmodeus looks to Xerxes, saying, "No mortal would do this thing that you have done." Xerxes, if you look down and see the stars, what world will you see if you look up? As he looks up, Xerxes sees the ground of the earth fast approaching. Suddenly, he wakes up. Okay, Brennan, what the fuck was that, huh? The dream sequence is strong with this one. First question, is this a vision to come or one that has already passed? From what we know, in the founding, the Betrayer gods gained their name by siding with the Primordials in the era known as the Schism. It's possible that this was a vision of the past, as Asmodeus was one of the betrayers which Pelor really did not take kindly to. As well, there was that bit about Xerxes' deceased husband, which obviously is a vision of the past, seeing as he's dead. However, much of it does feel like a warning from the future. From what we know, Aeor was cast down from the skies because the Betrayer gods and the Prime Deities formed an alliance, believing that Aeor had some kind of weapon that could kill a god. It's very possible the same fate will befall Avenir, but we really don't know how the city falls. All we do know is that the city will fall. And there's that amazing line Asmodeus says, "Whom did we betray?" From what we know, the people they betrayed were the Prime Deities themselves. However, it seems like it's not gonna be that simple. Could it be possible that it was the Prime Deities who betrayed the betrayers all along? It's so hard to make theories regarding this, especially when you consider the character telling us this information is Asmodeus, the Lord of the Hells, who later in the Calamity, it is said, took advantage of Sarenrae's forgiving nature, slaughtering all of her followers. Yeah, I'm probably not the most trustworthy guy here. Let me know your theories in the comments down below. Who could Asmodeus be referring to? As well, I'm not really sure what the spectral tree in Asmodeus' hand was. First thoughts go to the Sun Tree, the tree that was planted by Pelor in the Calamity at the spot Ioun was wounded, but that seems like a bit of a stretch, so I guess we're just gonna have to wait and find out. Next, we move to the introduction of Travis's character Cerret. We learn that Cerret's job is to investigate unsolved mysteries and potential crimes, often involving the works of mages and sorcerers. Recently, the city visited Vasselheim, and while there, Cerret's men recovered a series of artifacts taken from the scene of a magical incident that occurred in the sanctum of one Archmage Vespin Chloras. If that name rings any bells, that's because that this guy is considered one of the most evil dudes in all of Exandria history, having been the one that is said started the Calamity by releasing the Betrayer gods. Obviously, the characters here don't know this, as basically the whole premise of this first episode is discovering this and unraveling this whole mystery. Travis's character Cerret uses this crazy magical marble room that uses transmutation magic of some kind to reconstruct the sanctum of Vespin Chloras using the memories of innate objects or something like that. Cerret, using his crazy bird eyes, examines the room, finding a piece of rusted metal that he determines was once part of a magical bow, but through some great force has been destroyed and disenchanted. He finds trace of demonic and celestial ruins as well within the room. An insane roll of 31 is able to make out the faintest remains of a summoning circle that had been placed on the floor. Somehow, though, it had been wiped completely away from existence, it seems, along with Vespin Chloras himself, as no one has heard or seen of him. Already, though, it seems the pieces of Vespin's plan are beginning to fall into place. At first, the characters assume that Vespin Chloras was trying to recreate the Maiden's ritual in a sin to godhood, leading some more credence to the theory that Vespin will later become Vecna. However, I'm not too sure about that one. As the party pieces the information together, though, the true plan of Vespin Chloras begins to reveal itself. It's clear that whatever Vespin summoned created enough power to completely destroy a magical item, sucking all of the magic from it, disenchanting it, as well as completely removing all traces of a summoning circle. Now, the only thing that could do this would be a god, and the demonic energy Cerret perceives leads me to believe that this was most likely Asmodeus. Nidus determines later on that the bow was once the celestial weapon of a solar, an angelic-like being, so the amount of power it would take to shatter this bow would be absolutely incredible. As we later learn through Laren, a powerful solstice is going to occur very soon. A solstice so powerful and rare, the planes become incredibly thin, possible for the magical Leylines to be shifted and reshaped. It seems that all of this together is what's going to make it possible for Chloras to eventually release the Betrayer Gods. This also could be a bit of foreshadowing to some certain moon events that take place in Campaign 3. The party meet together at a gala being held in Patia's home. There, Xerxes tells them all about his dreams and the words Dranas. Patia knows from her studies that this is draconic, translated to mean gathering of shadows, a phrase that brings very serious connotations as dragons aren't afraid of much. It seems that something is trying to warn Xerxes of this impending darkness being the revival of the Betrayer Gods. We also get a surprise appearance of a character made famous from Campaign 1, Pervon, the champion of the Raven Queen and his wolf Goldrick. Pervon has been sent to Avalir by his matron the Raven Queen to warn them that something is wrong in the world. During this party, one of Nidus's automatons begins to malfunction. Cerret takes it into the room alone to examine it. With his insane perception, he realizes that he is in fact not alone in the room, as he spots the glint of two eyes of an invisible person behind him. In a flash, he turns, striking the figure down. On the floor, the dead body of Vespin Chloras resides. The body looks as though it has been sewn together. He is covered in rags bearing infernal runes. Behind Cerret, from the mirror, a voice rings out. "You will never reach the Wildmother's embrace in time. Are you looking for something?" As a ghostly visage of Vespin Chloras resides in the mirror, it strikes, cracking the mirror, then disappearing. So, my assumption here is that Vespin Chloras was torn asunder by the summoning of Asmodeus. Asmodeus, then seeing a mortal that he felt he could control, stitched Chloras back together, turning him into a devil possibly, then coerced and planned to use Chloras to ultimately release himself and the other betrayers during this solstice, as the ley lines can be reshaped and the veil between worlds is very thin. I'm curious what Vespin meant when he referred to the Wildmother's embrace here at the end of the episode. We know at some point during the Calamity, the Wildmother was ambushed by Sakhir, who killed many of her followers. It's possible that Vespin is referring to this ambush, but it would seem kind of weird. Also, we have no idea when this ambush in the Calamity takes place, and at this point, the Calamity hasn't even started yet. I'm not really sure what other context of Wildmother's embrace could mean here. Possibly they mean returning to the surface of Cael Morrow, the Wildmother's embrace in this context possibly meaning the land itself, but I really have no idea. Quick recap then, Dranas is the draconic word for gathering shadows, a warning to the gathering of power of the Betrayer Gods. As well, it would be the name of the kingdom that the Betrayer Gods would establish in Xhorhas, to which the fighting here would leave Xhorhas a deserted wasteland. Vespin Chloras, a powerful archmaid, conducted a summoning, possibly attempting to free Asmodeus. Upon summoning him, though, the vast power release would destroy his physical body. Asmodeus would then be aware of this powerful solstice approaching, knowing it would weaken the veil between the planes. He would then revive Chloras and task him with freeing the betrayers. As a final point, I quickly want to cover the significance of Cael Morrow, the terrestrial city that Avalir will be landing at. If you watched my Calamity Explained video, I'm gonna be repeating myself a bit here. In the Calamity, the city of Cael Morrow was attacked by the betrayer god Grumsh, as he was attempting to destroy the continent of Marquette. The Ruidus-born hero Alexian would block this attack, saving Marquette. However, somehow with Alexian's ties to the moon of Ruidus, a planar rift was torn, the city then collapsing inside it, creating the Netherdeep. In modern Exandria, the city of Ank'Harel sits on top of where Cael Morrow once stood. All of this is extremely important, as I can almost guarantee you this is setting the seeds for potential plot hooks coming up in Campaign 3. And yeah, I think that just about covers my breakdown and theories for Exandria Unlimited Episode 1. Let me know in the comments down below what details did I miss. It's basically impossible for me to cover everything, as this video was already super long in itself. I just want to take a second here and give Brennan, the DM for EXU Calamity, his roses here. A lot of fans were a little apprehensive at a different DM other than Matthew Mercer taking the reins for something so important as the Calamity. But have no fear, Brennan's as talented as they come, with the unique Dungeon Master style all his own. This guy is an absolute gem and a master storyteller. And the opening dream sequence with Louis' character Xerxes is a perfect showcase of this. As always, if you enjoyed the video and learned something new, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Check out our other Critical Role content, like our Calamity Explained video, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Stay safe out there. Peace, love, adieu.